What's going on, all my good people out there? How y'all doing tonight, man? We got a very, very special guest. We're going to be talking about paying off $45,000 in debt. All right, that's a big number, big goals. But before I get started, man, thank y'all for tuning in. If you're watching replay, if you're watching live, say hi to me, say what's up to us in the comments. Hit hashtag replay, hashtag live. Hit the share button. Let a person, let some good people join into the conversation with us. And let's get this thing started. Also, Build Your Bank is starting on Monday, and I am so excited about that. Thank you. Salute to all the people who signed up. I'm looking forward to it. We got a lot of amazing content to share in our private setting. So let's go. I'm looking forward to y'all seeing y'all Monday. All right, and you still have time to sign up if you haven't already. So still got a couple of slots left. So you still got time to enroll. Just hit the link and let's get this thing started. So like I said, if y'all out there, say what's up to me in the comments. We have tonight a very, very special guest. She dropped in our private Facebook group, Financial Fundamentals. She said, yo, I just paid off $45,000 in debt. And I was like, God, dog. So let's get her on the live to see some of the things she's done. So Miss Keita Marsh, please introduce yourself to the people.
So I am Keita Marsh, and I want to clarify. So that is not an I, that is a we paid off $45,000 in debt. So that was not an independent thing that I did on my own.
Tell the mister I meant no disrespect.
Honey, look, I want to give credit where credit is due. That was partnership.
I don't want no smoke.
But my name is Keita Marsh. My background has historically been social work. So I did social work for 18 years. Most recently, actually, in the last year and a half, I transitioned positions, wanted to do something different, and went into project management. And so I am currently a project manager for a Fortune 50 company. And I support our middle office trade team. So everybody's familiar with the stock market. There is a team of staff that sits behind them that supports all of the processing of their trades and making sure that their processes, they can trade as much as they can every day. And so what my team does is we build out any infrastructure to help them be able to trade more, right? To help make their processes less manual and to increase their automation. So the one tip that I will say is if you're in a career that isn't working for you anymore, leverage the skills that you have and do something different, because that's exactly what I did. And as a result of that, it's really set us, like my family and I, up for some different opportunities that we wouldn't have had before.
That is dope. I have been in several career fields that I did not typically enjoy, and I've definitely made a switch a couple of times, quite a few times actually. So yeah, I'm definitely all for that. All right, so let's get it started. My first question: What motivated you to pay off the debt and not just accept it? Because the studies show, I think the average person is around $150,000 in debt. So why not just accept having the debt? What was you all's motivation for deciding to pay it off?
So we have 3 boys, and we really want to be in position financially to set them up for opportunities that we didn't necessarily have. And so, carrying that amount of debt, regardless of how you got it, doesn't make it easy to have any type of financial stability or to be able to pass down any type of wealth for your children. And so we wanted to, our goal, our end game was, we want to be able to contribute more to retirement. We want to be able to build our forever home and not just feel like you're settling, for where you are. And so we really got serious about taking the next steps, like what does this look like, right? And figuring out what do we need to do in order to get this done and take this first step towards moving towards these additional goals that we have.
Let's go. Man, I went to a buddy of mine's house today, and he's having a house built. And that was like just to be there, that was like an amazing thing to me, just to see. Like he's getting it built out the way the way him and his family wants it, just to see the process. That was really dope for me. So I definitely feel you on wanting to get you that house that you feel like your family deserves. And you mentioned a lot of forward thinking as far as your kids and the babies. You want to pass down wealth, and that's definitely something. Me and the wife, we're definitely, that's our goal too for our babies as well. And also, we got them some investment accounts with stocks already at an early age. So yeah, we're definitely on the generational wealth as well, which every parent should be.
And I think it's hard to teach your children what you're not practicing, right? So, we know all of the tips and, all of we've read the books and all of those things, but it's one thing for us to be able to tell them that. It's another thing for us to be able to show them that. Yeah. And show them how how you can leverage a good credit score, and show them how you can, when you're not carrying debt, how it opens you up and opens up your finances to be able to do other things, how you can invest, how you can travel, and how those things become less stressful for you. So it's like, making sure that you're living in this process, and getting over those hurdles, getting that stuff out of your way so it doesn't become a continuous barrier for you.
Let's go. I love it. You mentioned travel. I was talking with my sister earlier today, and she's actually one of my dream spots I want to go to is Dubai. And I want to ride the 4-wheelers in Dubai. And she actually done it. She's actually done it. She posted the picture in the group, and I was like, wow. So yeah, so I want to travel with you. I want to do those things as well. So my next question, and I'm gonna say that one for last. My next question after that, did you all have to sacrifice a lot of things, many things, in order to get this debt knocked down?
No, honestly, it was just taking the time to be deliberate, right? Looking at our budget, looking at where we were spending extra and how we could leverage that. So we use the snowball method. And of course, that's, you start off with the payments that you already have, putting whatever extra you have towards your smallest bill, and then taking that amount and applying it to the next one in line. So that with each payoff, you're adding whatever that monthly payment was to the total of payments for your next bill. And so utilizing that method really worked for us, because it meant that we didn't have to feel like you were sacrificing and giving up everything, right? Yeah. Like, we normally do dinners with the kids out at least once or twice a month. We like to be able to get in the car and do road trips and that kind of thing. I mean, quarantine put some boundaries on that, as as well. But I don't really feel like we sacrificed a lot in that process. We just leveraged, we looked at different opportunities to leverage what we have. And so, like, specifically, like during COVID, you're not going out as much. You weren't, taking a family of 5 out to eat is $150 easy, right? So where if we ordered in, then we might have taken that extra $70 or $80 and dropped it on the bill, versus, and the kids were still happy because they didn't have to, they got to eat pizza or whatever it was. Yeah. So, just little small changes, honestly, because we knowing ourselves, knowing that if we made this too strict, we weren't going to stick with it.
That's a bar. You mentioned the word budget. Do you feel like having a budget is important?
It's absolutely necessary. It's necessary because you need to have a plan for your money. So I'm a planner in every aspect of what I do. I'm a planner at work, I'm a planner outside. And so you need to have a plan for your money. Otherwise, you're going to look up and you're not going to be able to know where it's going. You're not going to have any idea of where it's going, where you spend it, and why you're in it, why you're working at a deficit at this point. It's so easy, right? Like that $5 or $10 at Starbucks every day adds up to $120 real quick by the end of the month, and you're $120 short and you can't figure out why. So being able to put, and I'm old school, right? So my husband is techie and he wanted, he uses all of these apps and databases and he wants to plug everything in. And I'm like, nope, I need to write it down so I can hold myself accountable to it, because between the two of us, I'm the spender, right? So I do all of the household spending, all of the household shopping for the clothes for the kids and all of this stuff. So while it was important for him to be aware of like what we have and do some of that tracking just for his knowledge, it was really important for me to stay on top of those numbers and what we were spending, because I'm the one that does all of the spending. So if there was an area where we needed to cut back, then I was really kind of in control of making that happen.
Let's go. I love it. What are your thoughts on one marriage, one bank account?
We don't operate that way.
Okay.
But I will say this. I think to some extent we do. So we do have a primary account that everything household related comes out of. I have my little spending money on the side. He has his little spending money on the side, so that we don't feel like we're constantly asking each other like, for instance, his birthday is coming up. I don't necessarily want him to know what I'm doing for his birthday. So, I have the access to be able to do that. But we are very clear about being transparent. And I think that's where people have their challenges, right? So you can't work from this perspective of, oh, well, this is mine and you can't see what I'm doing, because it causes trust issues. And if I don't trust you, you're not touching my money, or, and if once you start to look at it like that, you've defeated your purpose. You're not going to reach your goal.
Let me ask you this. If I was dating, right, when would be an appropriate time to bring up debt? Or
at the beginning.
How soon in the beginning?
At the beginning. If we've had date number one and we've determined that we have some interests and our personalities are clicking, then by date number two, date number three, we need to be talking about what our thoughts are around financials, and that doesn't mean that you have to disclose everything, but you should be willing to paint a basic picture of
just like
your
in
financial
general
standing, just in general, because it's two things. And specifically, I think about me and my husband. I have student loan debt. He doesn't. Right. And I have significant student loan debt and he doesn't. And so it would have been an issue if we didn't have these conversations up front and some transparency about where we were. And then he's popping the question and I'm like, oh yeah, by the way, are you signing on to the student loan debt? Right. Because as far as finances and our financials go, like I said, we work out of the same pot. So at some level, if I'm making this student loan payment every month, you're contributing to that. Or you have a trade-off that, there's a cost benefit that you're losing because this amount of money that's coming out of our household is going to cover my student loan costs. You need to be aware and okay with that.
Up front.
Like that's a deal breaker.
Facts. If y'all got some questions, please drop them in the comments. Got one from my beautiful bride. She said, is it hard for some couples to get on the same page about money? What advice would you give to help? If you got a couple, they're not on the same page with money, what advice would you give to them?
Realizing that it's not about you. It's not about you. If you are, and I'm going to specify this to marriages. and if you are working towards marriage. It's not about you anymore. It becomes about the team, your partners. And so in, specifically like with men in this conversation, you guys are quick to get on a basketball team and with people you don't know and willing to sacrifice and give your left knee to win this game, but you get into relationships and then you have this hesitancy. And women were the same way because we're possessive with our stuff. We want to be in control with it. But I would say you have to be willing to be a partner and realize that it's not just about you, and you're going to benefit and reap the benefit of the two versus the one.
All right, Mr. Jamal Bates, Jamal Bates, he said, so debt isn't a deal breaker if he has a plan for his debt after you all talk about it on date 2 or 3, he or she?
I don't think so. I think if the person has to be comfortable with that plan, and they have to be comfortable in recognizing that if we are coming together, then in some form or fashion, I'm buying on to that plan and I don't have an issue in helping contribute to that plan. If you're okay with agreeing to that, then no, I don't think it's a deal breaker. I think the deal breaker is not being transparent and giving that disclosure up front and having somebody sign on to you where there's this background and all of this hidden agenda and information, and then you're dropping this in their lap once they're bought in.
Yeah, that's a fact. Me and my bride, she knew up front what it was with the finances. She knew they were like almost non-existent. So she really got in it for me. For me. All right. Next question. Did you have a support system outside of each other, or any accountability partners outside of each other? Just you all two?
Just the two of us. And I think to some extent that was intentional, because it made us rely on having that transparency with each other. And we also didn't have other people in our ear saying, well, I don't understand why you would do that, or I don't understand, well, I wouldn't do that if it was me, right? So I think it made it a lot easier for us to focus on on our goal as a team, and not have the, because people could have been positive, but they also could have been negative. That is right. And that gets into your head. And so it kind of allowed us to drown out or to keep out any outside noise that was going to be, a potential issue.
I love it. I do love it. I know a lot of my friends, I don't have too many friends, but the ones I do have, we're pretty much, everyone is working towards, improving their finances in a major way, in a good way. But it's pretty safe to say that a lot of people do have a lot of people in their ear that does not have the same financial goals or financial dreams as you. So you definitely want to qualify who you listen to. And the fact that you all just counted on each other was major. That was major. So yeah, definitely. I've talked with people and they feel like you got to save all your money. You can't do this. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have no fun. And I'm like, no, I got a goal in mind. I saw a meme and said, go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I saw a meme and the meme said, I don't have it right now. This is investing. All my money is tied up in investments. Mm-hmm. And that's the season I'm in right now. I mean, everything. But so how did?
I think that we were intentional about, like for me, like I said, I know me and I know us, and I know that if we were overly stringent, we weren't going to do it because it was going to feel too restrictive. But we were also really intentional about what we leverage. So, for instance, we both take full advantage of the match programs with our retirement plans at work. So we made sure that we were both contributing up to the max amount that our job is going to match. That's free money. Don't leave it on the table, kind of thing. So we took, could we have said, oh, well, this $300 or $400 a month will help us get this done faster? if we're not contributing it into our retirement accounts, yeah, but we didn't see the benefit in that because we're leaving money on the table if we're not maximizing that match. So, I mean, we took the time to sit down and look at what was going to be feasible for us and for the lifestyle that we like to have, and then leveraged that to our benefit.
I love it. Definitely have to plan for retirement. I don't know too many people, too many adults that get to retire, and I don't know a whole lot of young people that's actually planning on retiring, like actively putting money up for retirement. So that's definitely a major key. And retirement isn't necessarily an age; it's more so a dollar amount. That's what I believe.
Exactly.
You got the money you can get out of the door. So you kind of answered this, but let's just say temptation, right? How did you deal? Like you said, you like to shop, you're the spender. If you just see like whatever it is you like, some shoes or clothes or something. If it's like a great deal, like how did you deal with that versus, oh, I can make another payment towards the principal?
I bought it.
Let's go.
I bought it. But I was also very intentional in what I spent. And so, of course, we're girls. It's a whole lot easier for us to find sales and, we buy our clothes cheap. My closet is semi-ridiculous. And my husband always talks about the fact that he has like this corner in our closet and I have all of this space.
Wow. Sound like my house.
So, but I was also very intentional. So there was a budget, that was a component of our budget where I was sure that, I stayed within that budget. I didn't overspend in those areas. And so, if I spent $100 this month, then I didn't spend anything next month. And so it almost became like a little treat session for me. And then like if we paid something off, then I might have celebrated a little bit more, right? But never to the point where it was taken away from the process that we put into place of how we wanted to make this goal.
Good deal. So, I mean, $45,000. Now we're not talking about 450, $45,000. Like, how do you stay the course for what you said? 18 months. It was well over a year. How do you stay the course for that long?
Because like I said, we used the snowball method and that worked so well for us because that money was already money that we didn't feel like we had access to anyway. Right. So for instance, if I had a bill and I was paying $400 a month on this bill. Actually, I know one off the top of my head was $405 a month. And it was one of the first things that we paid off. And when I paid that off, that $405 automatically went to the next bill. But I didn't feel like I was missing anything because that money was already in the budget to pay towards that bill anyway. So the only thing that shifted was where the next bill I might have been making a $200 payment, I went to making a $600 payment, which then dropped, that bill so much quicker. And then once you start to pick up that momentum, and when you start making payments of $1,200 and $1,300 in a month in one sitting, and you're seeing this stuff go away, because we had a lot of between the two of us, we had like a lot of smaller bills. It was like the stuff, it just adds up, right? And so when you start to see that those numbers compounding, like literally I had one bill, I think one of the last bills that we paid off, the payment on the bill might have been like $65, $70 a month. So the payment on the bill wasn't large at all. But by the time we continued to make those monthly payments over the time, by the time we got to, rolling to pay off what was left of that bill, we were literally able to make one payment and it was done. Right? And let it be done. And so, doing it that way, it didn't really feel like it was taking a lot. And now what I will say we did do though is before we started the snowballing method, we did look at our budget and see where we had opportunities to leverage and increase the payments that we were making on those bills. So where we might have started with a bill where we were just paying maybe $50, if we said, okay, well, if we move this one to 100, we can pay a little bit more on this one. And then as we paid them off, we rolled that money into the next bill.
Let's go. I love it. I love it. So another question, what would you say to someone who feels like I don't make enough money to pay off my debt or pay off my debt early? I don't make enough money to pay it off early.
Reevaluate what your lifestyle is. So the one conversation that we have consistently with my boys, I have a soon to be 18-year-old, soon to be 16-year-old, and a 3-year-old. And specifically with the teenagers, the conversation that we have with them is not what do you want to do or what do you want to be when you grow up? How do you want to live? Right? Because that is going to be contingent on what you need to do. Should you do what you enjoy? Absolutely. But if you have this lifestyle in mind and how you want to live, then you need to make sure that what you're doing is aligning with that. And I would say the same thing to somebody who says, well, I can't afford to do that. Then look at your lifestyle. Look at, and I mean, and I think now I will say that, but I will add this. If you are in a poverty setting, poverty levels, I think that's a different conversation, right? Because you're living and working in a system that isn't really set up to help you be successful in that manner. But even that being said, you still have to look at a budget and live within your budget and live within your means. And sometimes that means that you're not able to do the extra if that's your goal. And the level of freedom that comes with, and I mean, for us, there's still, like I said, my student loans are ridiculous. And so we still have my student loan debt, and we have one other vehicle that we just got that we're paying on. But we were intentional about that being the debt that we had remaining. And so for us, that's not seen necessarily as negative debt for us. And then there's a plan on how we're expediting getting rid of that as well. So leveraging what you have, looking at your lifestyle and what you can and are willing to do differently. And then in the event that you're in a position where you really just don't have those resources, looking at opportunities to increase your resources, right? Like, so for me, I was in social work. We all know, and honestly, I was in director level positions in social work, and my salary was decent, right? But it wasn't worth the trade-off of the time that I was committing to the roles that I was in. So I took 2 years and did some redevelopment of myself and figured out what I could do with the skills that I have. How can I best leverage what I have without it costing me, anything more? I wasn't going to pay for another degree. Refuse to, right? I already got 2. I don't need any more. But how can I leverage the skills and the background that I have to benefit me? And that's what I did. And when I shifted careers, my salary reflected that. And so that was also a major opportunity, but there was definitely some sacrifice associated with that as well.
I love it. Ebony says, I'm using that method as well. What really has been helping me out, what helping me remember is that this is a process and eventually it will pay off. That is a fact. Definitely stay the course, stay encouraged.
Well, and I would say to also celebrate the small victories, right? Because like for us, $45,000 is a lot of money. It's a lot. And it, I think when we first sat down and did the numbers, and we were like, oh my gosh, like, because we never, when you put those numbers together, you never recognize that it's going to be that much money, right? And so it's initially overwhelming to think, And I know for me, it was overwhelming for me. My husband he's the dreamer between the two of us, right? And he was like, oh yeah, we can do this. This is going to be simple. And I'm like, okay, if you say so. But, but like, again, having that partnership and that balance helped. But then celebrating the small wins. So when we did pay something off, being able to celebrate that, and utilizing that energy, that positive energy to keep going.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I done kept you 30 minutes, child. My bad. I didn't
I'm a
even
talker. It's fine.
I didn't even know.
I'm Southern. It's what we do.
I think you've definitely answered all my questions. If you all out there, if you're watching, if you have any question, please drop them in the comment box. We are about to bring this thing to a close. Any closing words that you want to say to the people who's looking to pay off debt, or that wants to pay off debt, or just overall just wants to improve their financial situations? Anything you can say? Anything you want to say to them?
I just say, just be serious about it. Write it down. Like, I'm a tangible, like, I want to see it, write it down, make it concrete, because we think about a lot of things, and they remain fairly abstract thoughts for us. I think when you start to take the steps and put things down on paper, whether it's in a database or whatever, it becomes real, right? And when it becomes real for you, it's a lot less easy to dismiss it.
Yeah.
Right. You have to lock into it, and you hold on to it a little bit better. So make it concrete for you, and then put a plan in place that's going to work for you. If that's $25 a month for the next 12 months, then start there, and then build as you can or as you go, and you'll eventually see that benefit.
$1, one paycheck at a time.
At a time. That's all you can do. You can only do what you have, or you can only do what you can with what you have. So utilize what you have to your benefit.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Miss Keita. For all of y'all out there, please hit that share button for me. Let some other people join in this conversation. Let some other people be encouraged. Also, Build Your Bank is starting Monday. So thank you all for those who are already enrolled. Looking forward to Monday. It's going down. No excuses, only adjustments. All right. So thank y'all for tuning in tonight, and definitely we'll see y'all next time. All right. Peace.